Jennings goes back with Shelton Gibson. Top 25 matchup to start October. Off we go in Norman. And Hodgson drills it out of the back of the end zone. West Virginia will start at the 25-yard line. Brady, what are we watching for?
Well, it starts with the quarterback, Skyler Howard. He's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks this season. He's taking care of the football. And one of the guys he's going to be looking to make those explosive plays is going to be Shelton Gibson on the outside. He is absolutely a terror once he gets the ball in his hands.
You know, one of the common misconceptions about this West Virginia offense, because like Chris said, it comes from the Mike Leach tree, is that they're all throwing the ball, but this is a 60% run offense. And Howard has Wendell Smallwood behind him to get us started. He'll throw on first down. Well protected, taking a shot, covered well. And it's second down. Sanchez running step for step with Javon Durant, who they wanted to get over the top at some point today. Second down.
Well, Zach Sanchez struggled a bit versus Tulsa last week. He's obviously a guy that West Virginia wants to target early in this game and see if he's willing to give up any more balls downfield.
Yeah, this entire secondary struggled against Tulsa. Gave up 427 yards through the air. On second down, they motion the back out and throw it outside to Devontae Mathis. Made his first career start last week and in the lineup to begin this one. Tackled by Zach Sanchez and an early third down and short.
And West Virginia going right back at Zach Sanchez. Clearly they saw something they liked on film last week. Oklahoma has back Jordan Thomas, number 7 at cornerback, who was suspended a week ago.
Smallwood off of the read play, spins his way for a first down, gets popped, but has it up for a first down, and West Virginia converts its first third down. There's quite a hit there.
It was quite a hit. I think it was Jordan Evans bringing the hammer, but that's what makes Wendell Smallwood so effective in the running game for West Virginia, is really the yards after the first contact. He keeps those legs moving.
First down today for West Virginia. They set a school record with 37 first downs in the win against Maryland last week. Pressure coming on first down, and the throw sails over Mathis. It'll be second down and 10 for Skyler Howard in this offense. He's one of the nation's most efficient passers. He threw his first career interception last week.
Yeah, he's really taken care of the football so far this season, besides the interception last week versus Maryland. And then that's going to be one of the keys for today, because defensive coordinator Mike Stoops is going to bring more pressure, just like you saw the last play. So taking care of the ball on the road is pivotal.
They're making a change at the line of scrimmage for the second play in a row. On second down, it's Smallwood, shut down by Eric Striker. The two-time All-Big 12 outside linebacker pulls him down for a loss.
This is one of the guys to focus on, number 19, Eric Striker. He's an outside linebacker coming off the edge, and what makes him so special is his ability to run down plays from the backside. He's got a lot of speed and a lot of ability.
And a lot of swag. You talk about confidence. Eric Striker's got it. Third down and long. Howard scanning the field. He'll take off and get pushed out of bounds. It was Tapper that got there first. Then Eric Striker ushered him to the sideline, and it's fourth down.
Skyler Howard's been effective getting outside the pocket and being able to make plays with his feet, but clearly Oklahoma's seen that through the first 3 weeks of the season. That's something they're going to key in on today and not allow Howard to hurt them at all with his legs on third down.
Sterling Shepard back to return this punt from Nick O'Toole. They faked one last week against Maryland, and O'Toole ran it for a first down. Shepard signals for the fair catch, and Oklahoma will start at the 16-yard line. On the other side of this break, with Baker Mayfield, who's off to such a good start in an Oklahoma uniform. What a story he is. We'll dive into that as this game rolls on. Back to Norman in a moment. One of the reasons people don't like the early start times is they argue that the crowds aren't as fired up, but it's been a great atmosphere in here over the first couple of minutes. Oklahoma ready to take the field offensively. Brady, what are we watching for?
Well, Baker Mayfield's been absolutely electric so far this year, not only through the air, but on the ground with his legs. And he's got a solid 1-2 punch in the backfield with Perine and Mixon, and they're going to help take some of the pressure off of Baker Mayfield with providing balance to this Oklahoma offense.
It was Perine's breakout game against West Virginia last year, but the question today is, in this new system with Lincoln Riley as the offensive coordinator, more of an air-oriented attack, how willing are they to try and pound West Virginia? Drive begins from the 17 with a Perine run. He gets outside and gets blocks on the edge to turn the corner for 9. Terrell Chestnut pushed him out of bounds, and it's 2nd and short.
One of the things I like most about what Lincoln Riley's doing so far in the first play of this game is putting Perine back in the pistol where he can get downhill running. He's been kind of playing more to the side of the quarterback and has been struggling to get more downfield in the running game.
Mayfield strong arm to the outside and has D.D. Westbrook, one of the nation's top JUCO transfers, with a gain of 19 and an Oklahoma first down.
Westbrook, the second leading receiver on this team, he provides nice balance to their passing attack, putting Sterling Shepard on one side of the field and Westbrook on the other.
So 2 plays and a first down to the 45. Mayfield making changes at the line. Perine into the arms of Wachuku. Part of this West Virginia defense, and granted it's only 3 games and the competition's not been good, but this defense, #1 in the country under Tony Gibson in forcing turnovers, #1 in the country in points per game.
Well, that's what happens when you apply pressure, and that's what defensive coordinator Tony Gibson likes to do. He brings a lot of pressure and a variety of looks as well.
He's showing pressure here. And bringing it. Got rid of it. Deep ball laid out there. Too far in front of Jarvis Baxter against K.J. Dillon. And it's 3rd down and 9.
Well, we talked about it coming into the game. There's all these guys up around the line of scrimmage. They're going to be bringing the heat on Baker Mayfield. And he told me, look, that gives me the opportunity for one-on-one matchups and big plays on the outside. But you got to convert. A little too much on that football.
Now, one of the reasons, Brady, West Virginia can bring the pressure is because they're as good as they are in the back end.
Very experienced back end and secondary, and you have playmakers like Carl Joseph. That helps out a ton.
On 3rd down and 9, they bring only 4. Mayfield took his eyes down early and thrown down back at the 40-yard line by Darian Howard. And 4th down coming up, so this West Virginia defense stands tall on the first possession.
Well, we saw an all-out blitz on the last play. Now West Virginia only rushes 4, and Darian Howard's able to find his way to the quarterback, the 2nd sack of the season. It's a very athletic group they have for West Virginia up front. They mix them all in.
Is that a design draw, or did he just take his eyes down early?
Looks like he took his eyes down early.
Yeah. Dillon back to return this punt. It's a good one. And he's swallowed up at the 5. Eric Stryker getting it done on special teams as well. Both defenses forcing a punt on the opposition's first possession. So we get things going in Norman. What better place to start the college football Saturday? No score in this top 25 matchup early on. Back here in Norman. No score in the first quarter. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Chris Budden. On a beautiful day for football. Big 12 opener for these 2 teams. West Virginia facing its biggest test yet, its first road game, and the first of 4 against teams currently in the top 25. Oklahoma tries to start 4-0 on what they hope is a bounce-back year after that disappointing 8-5 season last year. Backed into their own end. West Virginia gets it going with a Howard run. Read his block well and got 5. He runs better than people give him credit for.
Yeah, much better than people give him credit for. He's not the fastest guy, but he's very decisive when he does decide to run, and he knows where he's going. And he gets help. The outside wide receivers do a good job blocking downfield.
On second down, a wide open man, Shelton Gibson for a first down. Gibson putting together a breakout season as his first catch today.
Yeah, and he had big shoes to fill with the loss of Kevin White, obviously first-round pick to the Chicago Bears. Yet Gibson's really stepped up. Dana Holgorsen told us, man, when that ball's in the air, there's no one faster on the field going after it.
Mario Alford as well. They lost from last year. Here's Shell. And he's shut down by the Big 12's leading tackler, Dominique Alexander. He's been a starter all 3 seasons at OU and dropped him for a loss of 2, 2nd and 12.
Yeah, and credit the defensive front for Oklahoma. Matt Diamond, Charles Tapper, Matthew Romar. Those guys do a nice job of eating up the offensive linemen and allowing Dominique Alexander to make plays.
Shell motions out. Howard has all kinds of time to throw, and it's broken up by Stephen Parker as he looked for Jordan Thompson. Parker's a nice player.
And he's really the guy that allows Mike Stoops to be versatile in his defense. He can cover extremely well in the secondary, but he also comes up to stop the run well. They love this guy and what he brings to this defense.
Let's see what they bring on 3rd down and 12. Only a 3-man rush, so Howard with time to scan the field. Over the middle, Gibson came open, but he shot it too tall, and it's 4th down. Boy's a wide open man.
Yeah, he had an open man. And Skyler Howard, something he's done so well this year is working through his progressions, taking what the defense gives him. In this case, just got a little bit out of rhythm and threw the ball a little too high. Gibson can usually bring in those high balls, but not quite that high.
Yeah. Second punt already for O'Toole. Sterling Shepard waits back on a line drive that should give him a chance. Shepard from the 17. Turns the corner, takes it across the 25. It was a 55-yard punt for O'Toole, one of the best in the Big 12 this season. You know, Oklahoma's got those nice unis on today, some of the progression of those uniforms through its storied history. FS1 College Football is presented by Geico. Oklahoma is ready to take the field for its second possession here in year 1 under Lincoln Riley, a 32-year-old offensive coordinator who's installed his system here.
And boy, was he impressive coming from East Carolina, excuse me. 5 seasons there, 50 team and individual records. One of the top passing offenses in all of college football during his tenure there.
They're coming off a game where they had 773 yards against Tulsa. It was the most at Oklahoma in 27 years. On 1st down, he looks to throw. Taking a deep shot. Micaiah Quick with his first catch of the season. He's the guy that emerged last year, but has gone the first 3 games without a reception until now for 32.
They were working on number 9, K.J. Dillon for West Virginia. Very similar to Stephen Parker for Oklahoma. This guy makes the West Virginia defense work. He's very versatile in pass coverage and stopping the run, but got beat there. 1st
down from the 40. Fake the P-Ryan. They pump short. And zipped back shoulder for Quick again. He's got it. 1st down inside the 20. And Oklahoma will hurry to the line, assuming that West Virginia, they want to take a look at this. As it stands, 23 yards.
This is all Baker Mayfield anticipating the hole in the zone coverage. Chestnut just can't get there in time.
Well, it's going to be a matter of whether or not he had possession before his back hit.
The key part to this is it was called a catch on the field. Has to be indisputable evidence that proves that he was out of bounds before he maintained possession of the football.
So he qualifies for the catch in bounds by having both feet down, but was he on the sideline, any part of his body, when that ball was possessed?
His hip or his shoulder might have touched down.
Alan Eck, our referee, dialing in, trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm sure Mike Pereira back in Los Angeles, our rules expert, has an opinion on this one for us. What do you see, Mike?
You know, we talked a lot about this week, actually, about having indisputable visual evidence to overturn, going beyond a shadow of a doubt. What you want to look here is the left hip, the rear end, whatever you want to call it. Is it out of bounds at the same time that he touches the ball? Does he get possession of it first? And you take a look here. Now, the knee was in bounds, but it looks to me like the rear end, the butt is down. However, let's get to where replay was, because we had some situations last week in college football where they overturned things without indisputable visual evidence. So I'm sure they're taking a look at this now to see if there is. You know, to me, it might be one of these that stands, although if I had to make a judgment on it, I'd say that the left hip is down.
So, Mike, you're saying that it should be overturned and should be incomplete?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically, yes. I would say if I had to call it on the field, I would call it incomplete. But Brady, I think there was a notice that went out this week.
First down.
Go ahead, Mike.
And that's where they are. That's where they are in college football right now, where they're going to let it stand unless it's absolutely indisputable. And I can't blame him for that.
Yeah. All right, Mike, we appreciate the insight on that. So it stands as a 23-yard completion. Back-to-back receptions for a guy that went the first 3 games without one. And first down at the West Virginia 17. But the Mountaineers this season have not given up a point in the first half. Oklahoma's on the move with Joe Mixon in the game now.
Look out for pressure.
They're bringing it, trying to beat it. Over the top. Andrews can't run under it. Covered by Carl Joseph, but Mark Andrews, a guy you think has a chance to have a big day.
Yeah, I think his matchup and his size over most of the secondary defenders for West Virginia proves to be a bit of an advantage, but again, not quite as experienced as the secondary he's going up against.
One of the nation's most experienced groups in the back end for West Virginia. Mixon motions out. Mayfield looks his way. Over the middle. There he is. It's Andrews for the Oklahoma touchdown from 17.
They're going to call this a jerk route. You're going to have Mark Andrews run across the middle of the field. He hesitates, then he gets vertical, finding the void in the zone defense. Good patience by Baker Mayfield to wait on Andrews to clear through the coverage.
Extra point from the freshman Austin Seibert is there. And for the first time this year, West Virginia trails, giving up their first half points of the season. Andrews with his 3rd touchdown in the last 2 weeks. And the Sooners out in front of number 23, West Virginia.
I'm looking.
Heisman winners here at Oklahoma. This place loaded with history.
A ton of history. Most recently, Sam Bradford, buddy of mine, quarterback in the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, he's one of those prolific quarterbacks here at Oklahoma, along with Jason White. Josh Heupel was 2nd in the Heisman running during that national championship year. But Baker Mayfield, boy, he brings a whole different element, you know, to this Sooner offense with the way he's able to pass, but also affect teams with his legs.
They move quickly there, moving the length of the field in 4 plays for the game's first score. Nick Hodgson, how about those locks? That's where his strength comes from. 2nd in the country in touchback percentage. Don't ever cut him off, Nick. And they will take an knee and start at the 25-yard line. Speaking of Heisman, how about our Nissan Heisman watch? Think Leonard Fournette's going to have a decent day today?
He might. He's going up against one of the worst rushing defenses in the country in Eastern Michigan. Ypsilanti, near your parts. But I can only imagine the numbers he's going to put up after his record-setting performance so far this year. Some other guys who got a chance. Nick Chubb, he's got a tough one today. I think a big game versus a very formidable opponent in Alabama could go a long way.
In this one, West Virginia trying to get the offense going. 4 plays, 5 yards. Oklahoma shows edge pressure. They run away from it. Stryker trying to run it down. And a good penetration from that Oklahoma defensive line to stop Wendell Smallwood.
It's interesting. Mike Stoops talked about wanting to keep his base defense on the field so he could get Eric Stryker, number 19, and 23, Devontae Bond, on the field at the same time. He didn't feel as if putting them in versus more wide receiver looks allows him to be able to stop the run quite as well.
Howard scans the field. Gets through his progression and then has to heave it out of bounds. How about the start to this game for the Oklahoma defense, which gave up more than 600 yards against Tulsa 2 weeks ago.
And credit the secondary. I mean, there was no one open. That was only a three-man rush. And Oklahoma had everyone for West Virginia on lockdown. Howard with nowhere to go with the football.
He's 2 for 7. And looks at a 3rd down and 6. 4 receivers into the near side. There's a flag down as he finds Smallwood. He puts his shoulder down with enough for a 1st down, but a flag in the West Virginia backfield.
Personal foul, hands to the face, number 92, defense. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run, and an automatic 1st down.
Matthew Romar gets called. The drive extends for West Virginia.
Oklahoma trying to bring a variety of looks. Romar over the center. You could see he puts his hands up in the face of number 65, Tyler Orlowski.
It's up in the neck, huh?
Yeah, but that would have been a 1st down anyways. They just get the additional yardage. I'm saying a 7-yard gain or so to get the 1st down.
Doing his best Jonathan Papelbon impression. Into Oklahoma territory. It's Shell, who they thought did a nice job of responding to a challenge last week against Maryland. Consistency, always the thing with him. Finally ran hard last week.
Yeah, had a good week last week. 15 carries, 77 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's effective out of the backfield as well. A couple catches for 33 yards. They've got a nice 1-2 punch here for West Virginia, just like Oklahoma does.
They fake the shell down the boot. There's room. Nice job by Jordan Thomas to shed the block of Shelton Gibson. If Gibson had gotten the block, there was nobody out there.
Yeah, usually the wide receivers for West Virginia do a nice job of blocking on the perimeter to allow the running backs and even Skylar Howard to get downfield. That time, Oklahoma defense did a nice job of getting off and getting a stop.
3rd down and 2 for West Virginia. Shell straight ahead for a 1st down. 6 blockers on 6 in the box, and they move the chains.
In a bit of a funky formation, you actually have all 3 wide receivers to the top of the screen. And Russell Shell's just going to take the ball to the open side. You really got to credit the West Virginia offensive line. They do a nice job of getting movement up front.
Howard in rhythm, double clutches and throws an interception. It's Jordan Thomas. Only the 2nd interception this season for the Oklahoma defense, and it comes from the sophomore from Klein, Texas.
One of the hardest things to see as a quarterback is the backside coverage following into this play, and Jordan Thomas is just going to read the Skylar Howard's eyes and fall right back into this interception. As Howard double clutches, you can tell he knew it was going to be a tight window. He just never saw Jordan Thomas falling back into the throw to shorts.
And turnover margin has been the biggest story this season for West Virginia. They enter this game number 1 in the country in that category. That is only the 3rd takeaway for the Sooners. See if they take a shot off of the takeaway. Instead, they pound away with Pirine, who's hit in the backfield and dropped. Eric Kinsey, senior defensive end, with a tackle for a loss of 1.
Kinsey out of Miami, Florida. One of those guys that they go down to Florida and get. West Virginia does a nice job recruiting in Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It's definitely a contrast to the rest of the Big 12 schools being mostly in the state of Texas.
Mayfield to the sideline for Westbrook. Incomplete. He juggled it as he tried to get a foot down. So third down coming up for Oklahoma.
Well, number 11, D.D. Westbrook, has a lot of shake to him. He's working against West Virginia's best corner in Darrell Worley, but leaves him in the dust. Just can't get the ball with possession in time to get his feet in bounds.
This is a spot here, third and long, where Tony Gibson will lick his chops.
Oh, yeah. He just waits for these opportunities.
See how many they bring. 5. Trying to beat it. Westbrook's got it. And then it came out with Carl Joseph like a heat-seeking missile. One of the hardest hitters in the nation made sure that it became fourth down.
What makes Joseph so special is his ability to break on the football and get sideline to sideline, and then you see the physicality. Do you think another wide receiver from Oklahoma wants to try to stretch the field like that again? They know Carl Joseph is coming.
And he just barely got the job done under the head or neck area, which would have been targeting. He would have been thrown out of the game. One from Seibert. Back in Jennings, up inside the 5. Broke the Cardinal rule there. Caught that ball that was probably headed into the end zone. Time for a Lowe's game break. Let's check in with Jenny Taft.
Joe, thanks. Number 4, TCU hosting Texas. And this could be another long day for the Longhorns. Already 9-0 TCU. Heisman hopeful Javon Boykin finds Josh Dotson for the 15-yard touchdown pass. Artie Boykin's second TD pass of the day. And the Horned Frogs rolling early. 16-0 in the first quarter. Joe Brady, back to you.
And overcoming all those injuries, shutting Texas out in the early going.
Yeah, a lot of injuries on defense. Then last week we saw firsthand a lot of injuries on offense, in particular to the wide receiver position. Boykin just putting that team on his back right now.
So West Virginia, which is averaging 43 points per game coming into this one, top 15 in the country, trying to get it going. Out of a bigger set. Russell Shell behind Elijah Wellman for a gain of 4.
Everyone wants to talk about Dana Holgorsen being a spread guy. Look at the power I formation. They've got Cody Clay and Elijah Wellman in the backfield, and they help pave the way with that offensive line. Get some push up front. It's nothing but power football. That's not the spread.
Yeah. Old school that time. Here's a boot from Howard. He'll take a shot. It's a deep ball, and it's incomplete. Wanted Durant again. And a couple of times, Sanchez has remained step for step with Durant.
Yeah, he has. It looked like Durant hesitated a bit as he releases upfield on his route. I don't know if he was necessarily using all that speed. Dana Holgorsen told us he's the fastest guy by far on the team. Now, Shelton Gibson would like to argue otherwise, but he said when we time our 40s, it's by far and away Javon Durant.
Oklahoma with a chance to win the field possession battle. Third down and 6. And from the 14 against pressure. Howard in trouble. And he threw it away. But they'll mark him down. Stephen Parker out of the secondary came on the blitz and forced fourth down.
We talked about Stephen Parker earlier. He does a lot of different things on this defense. He's going to chase down Skylar Howard from the backside. No one for West Virginia was able to get to him in protection. Cajuste tried, but can't quite get there. And Howard wisely gets rid of the football.
But they will say that he was down before he did. And so they'll have to punt out of their own end zone. Holy cow, that ball is drilled. Shepard back to the 32. Shepard with some room. Shepard with a cut. Sterling Shepard into West Virginia territory. Navigating his way to the 41 on a 26-yard return. Our college football doubleheader continues next here on FS1. K-State taking on 20th ranked Oklahoma State in Stillwater, with the Cowboys trying to stay undefeated. Both those teams looking to stay undefeated. Then tonight on Fox, Arizona State and UCLA, number 7 in the country. We saw them a couple of times over the first few weeks of this season. They've been able, despite a few key injuries, to remain unbeaten.
Yeah, particularly because of that running game. Paul Perkins and Nate Starks, Soso Jamabo, all those guys in the backfield really helping out the freshman quarterback Josh Rosen.
Great field position for Oklahoma after that 25-yard return from Sterling Shepard. Daniel Brooks in the game at running back. He's in pass protection. Mayfield time to throw. Now he'll take off. He's dangerous, improvising, and has a solid first down game. They spot him right at the sticks as he shows some of that scrambling ability.
He might have had a shot at Sterling Shepard. He kind of settles in the zone coverage. Mayfield doesn't like it, and this is where he's dangerous. He adds that different element to this Oklahoma offense that some of the most prolific quarterbacks here haven't necessarily had in recent history.
There are flags down in the defensive backfield.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 11, offense, 15-yard penalty. It's second down. That was number 11's first unsportsmanlike foul.
That's significant because if he gets a second, he's thrown out of the game. D.D. Westbrook moves him back 15.
It looks like right there, D.D. Westbrook takes a bit of a cheap shot at Daryl Worley in the back end. Got 8 officials now on these crews. They're going to be able to pretty much see everything for the most part.
It was a gain of 9, so it would have been second down and 1. The 15-yard penalty is tacked on at the end of the play. So instead of second and 1, second and 16. He rides back in. He's got it. Into the arms of K.J. Dillon for a short gain, and it's third down and long.
Samaje Perine with a little better hold there on the left side of the offensive line. A little change up this week. Derek Farniok playing a left guard, and big Orlando Brown. They call him Zeus because he's so big. 6'8", 342 pounds. They get a lot of push on that left side of the line. If you're Tony Gibson, you might want to be leery of bringing too much pressure. The secondary has gotten beat a few times now for West Virginia.
Here's some pre-play movement. Joe Mixon next to Mayfield on third down and 12. They rush only 3. Scanning through 8 in coverage. Mayfield taken off. And he gets nowhere close to the first down. Muldrow popped the ball out of his hands, but out of bounds. And that penalty, when it would have been second down and 1, makes the difference on this drive.
Yeah, that really hurt him, but you got to credit West Virginia. Dropping 8 into coverage, really nowhere to go. They call this 3 cloud because they keep Chestnut over in the curl flat area. They're going to put Askew Henry over top. That's what they call a cloud, and it really just muddies up the zone coverage, and it is able to cover down a lot of the wide receivers releasing downfield for Oklahoma.
K.J. Dillon back to return this punt from Austin Seibert, who is the only true freshman in the country that handles place kicking and punting duties. Been really good at both so far. This one not as good, angled out of bounds. And the officials coming together to get the spot at the 14-yard line. Well, huddle up with college football experts and live web chats all season long with a new guest every week. It's the Edward Jones College Football Huddle on FoxSports.com. So West Virginia's offense back out here. They were averaging more than 40 points per game, but against competition not close to what they're facing today.
Yes, 74-0 in the first 3 games. In the first half, scoring against their opponents. So far, they're the ones with the goose egg on the scoreboard right now. They need to get some momentum, or at least a couple first downs to change the field position.
And a big hole on first down for Smallwood, but a flag down.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Number 92, defense. 15-yard penalty enforcing the end of the run. First down.
Second one we've seen on Romar.
Romar's right here on your screen. Again, second time this has happened against Tyler Orlowski.
And the reason that those personal fouls combined for Omar don't include an ejection is because they were inside the play. Like the 2 post-play Unsportsmanlike conducts to be ejected. Smallwood hit in the backfield, spins off contact and gets 4 or 5. Charles Tapper finished him off. What a nice job to turn nothing into something.
Yeah, unbelievable by Smallwood. I mean, the coaches had nothing but amazing things to say about this kid. He's smart, he's tough, he just has the right demeanor every time he's running the football.
Howard pulls, Striker so athletic, stays right with him. No gain, and it's 3rd down.
Skyler Howard was trying to read number 19, Eric Striker there. That's a poor read if the guy who you're reading actually ends up making the tackle in the zone read.
Personal foul, face mask, number 19, defense. 15-yard penalty at the end of the run. First down.
Another 15-yard penalty on Oklahoma.
Well, watch Eric Striker right here coming off the edge. This is who Skyler Howard wants to read in the zone read scheme. And if he's the guy who ends up tackling you, you should probably hand that football off. But fortunately for Howard, he had a face mask.
Baited him a little bit, didn't he?
I don't know about that. I think Striker was just trying to grab anything he could to get him down.
I'm talking baiting him to pull.
Oh, no.
4 15-yard penalties on Oklahoma. He does get this time, and Shell hits the hole hard for a first down inside the 30. Russell Shell for a run of 16 yards before Sanchez brought him down.
Defensive coordinator Mike Stoops brings a blitz from the field, and what that does is creates a seam for Russell Shell and the West Virginia offense on the right-hand side. Nice job by Kyle Bosch and Marcus Lucas up front, creating running lane.
They line Elijah Wellman up at tight end here, and flags come in late. There's another 15-yard penalty. This one will go on Charles Tapper and will be the 5th on Oklahoma in this first quarter. There was also a flag at the start of the play, which is either going to be a false start or an offsides, depending on whether or not Tapper was drawn off.
Offside with contact, number 91, defense. 5-yard penalty. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 91, defense. We're throwing the quarterback to the ground. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
I mean, holy cow.
First, unsportsmanlike foul.
And Charles Tapper is a guy that they're really looking forward to picking up his play. Mike Stoops talked about the fact that he's a guy that we need to create more pressure in the passing game, but it has to be in between the whistles, not after them. Or before them, for that matter.
6 penalties for 80 yards in the first quarter. First down and 10 from the 11. West Virginia threatening. It's Shell. Down to the 5 or 6. They can get a first down here. The marker is inside the 1. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as this first quarter clock winds down.
West Virginia brings in number 28, Elijah Wellman. He's their fullback, guy responsible for helping to pave the way for these running backs, in particular down the red zone where they really like to run the football.
Shorts goes in motion. And Devontae Bond stops Shell to bring this first quarter to a close. It's 7-0 Oklahoma, and it'll be 3rd down and 4 for West Virginia at the Oklahoma 5. On the other side of this break in this top 25 matchup at Memorial Stadium. The Boz is headed into the College Football Hall of Fame and was honored between quarters in front of this sellout crowd.
Only 2-time Butkus Award winner. People always talk about those 1985 Bears. What about the 1985 Oklahoma Sooners team? The Boz. Honor Thy Saturday. He's one of those football gods up there, huh?
He's a groundbreaking jersey guy, showing the 6-pack, right? He's kind of the trailblazer in that department.
And the hair.
Yeah, that was sweet, too. You're rocking that now. Anyways, big play. Defense could use him here on a 3rd down and 4 at the Oklahoma 5. Downhill, Shell behind Wellman. He's in. Touchdown, West Virginia. as they go downhill with Shell behind the fullback. Old style football right there for the Mountaineers.
Old style, and it starts up front with the offensive line for West Virginia. Then also number 28, Elijah Wellman, following in the footsteps of one of the West Virginia fullback greats, Owen Schmidt, helped paving the way for Russell Shell to elevate and get over the top.
For his third touchdown of the season. And Josh Lambert on to try and even the issue at 7. It's a play call of a team confident in its offensive line. 3rd down and 4th to 5, and they go right straight ahead.
They've played well this season.
Yeah.
You got to give the offensive line for West Virginia credit.
Lambert ties it at 7. Russell Shell, the Pitt transfer in his 2nd season at West Virginia. Coaching staff challenged him a couple of weeks ago, said be more consistent, run hard, use that power, physical running game, and he did to reach pay dirt and tie the score.
Well, let's take a look at that last touchdown. Why do you run the football? Because Oklahoma's got 3 defenders on only 2 wide receivers. So we're going to go ahead and run the football with Elijah Wellman clearing the way for Russell Shell to get in the end zone. We talked about it. Wellman following the footsteps of cult legend Owen Schmidt. That was an absolute animal for West Virginia during his time. And Wellman's got nice hands out of the backfield. Really a solid fullback option for West Virginia.
It's a guy that Wellman has said that he idolizes. Line drive kick off of the hands of Ross, and he will take a knee. Speaking of Owen Schmidt, he was a little bit out of his mind, wasn't he? In the best way.
Yeah, this is part of his, I don't know if it's a warm-up routine or a celebration, but you just see the tenacity, and that's what it takes to be a fullback in college football. It's about toughness. I don't know if you use your helmet in that way, but you definitely got to use it to help pave the way for your running backs.
Targeting on himself.
He used to hit himself so hard. He'd make his nose and his forehead would bleed.
It is whatever it takes to get you ready.
Yeah.
I tried it with my headset, but it's kind of flimsy. It didn't do much. Didn't really get me going. 7-7 game, 25-yard line. Baker Mayfield in this Oklahoma offense against the nation's #1 defense in the month of September. Play action on 1st down. Looking over the top on the post pattern. Worley in coverage. Westbrook fought through him for the catch. 1st down inside the 35 on a completion of 42 with a flag down.
Credit Baker Mayfield having the patience to turn down one open wide receiver to go to another coming on the backside and D.D. Westbrook.
Busy day so far for Alan Eck.
Pass interference, defense. The penalty is declined. The play resulted in the 1st down.
Number 7, Daryl Worley in position, but just too much contact towards the end before the ball got there.
We've seen Oklahoma take several shots against this aggressive defense so far. From the 33, Mayfield with a straight drop this time. Underneath it's Pirine, and he's pulled down by Jared Barber, who's back after missing all of last season with a knee injury. 42 in white. Kind of an old school inside backer for Tony Gibson's defense.
Yeah, number 42, Jared Barber, and number 35, Nick Kwiatkowski. Both 2 old school guys who really like stopping the run.
Fake to Pirine. Another downfield shot. And this one's incomplete. Chestnut covered Duron Neal and made it 3rd down.
Neal didn't leave too much room for Mayfield on the sideline. A small window really been to hit him up the sideline. Chestnut and tight coverage. 3rd and 5. This is the area of the field where sometimes defensive coordinator Tony Gibson likes to bring all-out pressures and blitzes and put it on the secondary to get the stop.
It would be a 45-yard field goal from here, which would be Austin Seibert's career long. He does bring heat. Mayfield gets rid of it. Broken coverage. Touchdown, Sterling Shepard. West Virginia gambled, and Oklahoma made him pay to retake the lead from 28.
And really credit the offensive line, in particular center Ty Darlington. He's the one making all the calls, figuring everything out to make sure they have one side of the blitz picked up. And Mayfield does his job, hangs in there tough, takes a little pop after the play, but finds Sterling Shepard downfield. Joe, it's tough to keep your eyes downfield when you know you got a free guy coming.
Extra point added as Sterling Shepard finds the end zone for the third time this season. Heroic performance from him a couple of weeks ago in Knoxville, an overtime win against Tennessee, and he's got a touchdown in this one, this top 25 showdown in Norman.
I really want to.
Sterling Shepard with a touchdown catch. Oklahoma's back in front. Let's go back to the touchdown and just listen into this communication.
Yeah, do two things. Watch and listen. Watch the route by Sterling Shepard, running a slant and go, and listen to the communication on the offensive line, picking up the blitz on the right side. That's how you beat the blitz, right there. Communication, everyone being on the same page up front, and then a quarterback who has the guts to stand in there, keep his eyes downfield, and make the big play.
How about the work from our audio crew? Pete Clark in the truck, Craig Lennox up here.
They're all over it.
Those great sounds of this great atmosphere. It's Gibson. There's a flag down as he spins free. Another flag comes flying in as he takes it back to the 36, but likely coming back.
During the return, holding, number 30, receiving team. 10-yard penalty for spot and foul. First down.
So they move him back. Let's check in with Jenny for a game break.
Joe, thanks. Number 2, Michigan State hosting Purdue. R.J. Shelton finds some room to take it in for the 23-yard touchdown for the Spartans. Michigan State has won the last 6 meetings between the two teams, and they're off to a good start, up 21-0 in the second quarter. Joe Brady, back to you guys.
Not many challenges for Michigan State until that big matchup versus Ohio State coming up in a few weeks.
West Virginia's had to deal with poor field position much of this first half. More than half of their last drive was off of Oklahoma penalties. Wendell Smallwood gets chopped down by Stephen Parker, who already has a sack to his credit today. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
When you have that fly motion, they call it, coming across the formation, it's hard for a player like Parker to discern whether or not it's a run, a pass, and who's getting the football. Nice job by Parker identifying quickly who had the ball and making the tackle.
Here comes Stryker. He gets the sack with a flag down that'll likely be holding on the left tackle, Yadni Kajust.
Holding, number 55, offense. The penalty is declined. It's third down.
Number 55, Yadni Kajust, has struggled a bit this year, in particular in pass protection. Eric Stryker, one of the better rush outside linebackers coming off the edge, was able to get low down around the edge and get to Howard.
They decline the holding call and make it 3rd and 21 in front of the student section.
And this is where really the Oklahoma defense likes to set Eric Stryker loose and get after the passer, play coverage on the back end.
Whistle before the ball was snapped.
Delay game. Offense. After versus no. It's third down.
That felt fast.
Yeah.
Clearly, Dana Holgerson thinks that the play clock wasn't reset, and I might agree with him. It just felt a little fast. That's that quarterback spidey sense.
Smallwood will get a few and at least give him breathing room to punt. Oh my, flag comes out. Who's this one on? Recent history would tell you it's on Oklahoma. The reaction would tell you it's on West Virginia. Allen Eck. And West Virginia's offense walking off of the field. This is going to be on the Mountaineers.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit, number 57, offense. After this to the goal, the down count, it's fourth down.
So much for that breathing room for the punt.
Yeah, Adam Pankey, redshirt junior for West Virginia. Little extracurriculars there at the end.
O'Toole to punt it out of his own end zone. They'll set up the return. And that one goes into the first row. Where will they spot it? Still going to the 41. It is only a 37-yard punt. Oklahoma with fantastic starting field position here. Already up 14-7. Took advantage of great field position the last time. FS1 College Football is presented by Geico as we welcome you back to Norman, Oklahoma. The Sooners trying to jump out in front by 2 scores. Excellent starting field position at the West Virginia 41. Third time that they've started to drive in West Virginia territory today. And it doesn't matter if you're the first-ranked defense in the country or the 125th-ranked defense in the country. Not going to be easy when you're backed into your own end like this. Flag comes in as Pirine gets shut down for a loss. K.J. Dillon was the first one there.
Holding, number 36, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
7 penalties for 85 yards on OU.
Yeah, Nick Kwiatkowski comes off the edge. And Oklahoma really didn't have anything else to do. Kwiatkowski would have blown up that play in the backfield.
Their leading tackler for the 3rd straight season. Oklahoma has scored a touchdown on more than half of its possessions since that big 4th quarter against Tennessee after a slow start to that one in Knoxville. Been clicking since. Only 3-man rush. So Mayfield with time to scramble and run it out of bounds past the 50 and a short gain, and it's 2nd and long. Carl Joseph there to angle him out.
Let's get a little chippy out there. Number 9, K.J. Dillon. Up in press man-to-man coverage versus Sterling Shepard. Gave him a little something extra there. Watch right here in your slot. Fakes the blitz and then a little shove out there. Get out of my way. They were chirping before the game.
They were.
It's getting a little bit more intense down there on the field.
I was worried. You went down for your pregame visits on the field. I thought you were probably in the middle of it all day, and Mayfield with room to take off and slide down, and Kwiatkowski was almost as if midway through that lunge, Kwiatkowski remembered he's defenseless. I can't hit him.
Well, Baker Mayfield does a nice job of trying to sit in the pocket. That's just too much green grass not to take advantage of his athleticism. You said it, Nick Kwiatkowski. No one wants to allow that guy to get a full head of steam coming downhill and get a hit on you.
Including West Virginia, because that likely would have been targeting sliding quarterback defenseless. On 3rd down and 12, they only rush 3. 8 in coverage. Mayfield slips a tackler. On the roll, scramble drill is on. Boy, he fired a dart. Did he get his feet down? He did. First down. And an injured player over there making the catch is D.D. Westbrook.
Well, you can only buy so much time in the pocket before you got to flush out and make a play, and that's what Baker Mayfield does best. He sits patient in the pocket. No one's open, feels the pressure, somehow slips out of these tackles. He's done this all year long. Keeps his eyes downfield and hits Westbrook for the first down.
It was Rachuku that had a chance at him, couldn't bring him down before they snap it.
Is under review.
They'll check on it. What a play by Mayfield. And you hope Westbrook is okay.
Mayfield going to his left, so tough, but gets his shoulders around and delivers an accurate football. And that appears as if his foot's in bounds.
That's a catch in the NFL.
Yeah. So he got 2 down. Daryl earlier on the coverage. Can't quite get there in time. It's so tough for that secondary with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. You got to cover forever because he's so good at scrambling around and buying time with his feet.
And this call should be confirmed quickly.
Maintains possession of the football as he comes down. That right toe, see if it is able to stay within the green.
You know what? The more I look
looks
at
like it hits the little bit of the white there.
Yeah. But is the left foot down first?
Left toe, I think, hits before the right.
Which would make it a catch.
Yep.
If he has possession when the left foot hits.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Okay.
Completed pass.
We got there.
Eventually.
Yeah.
These guys got their work cut out for them today.
Yeah.
All these penalties and close calls.
10 penalties combined. Baker Mayfield continues to show off on the move.
That's what makes him so tough to defend. It's when things break down. That's where the brilliance of Baker Mayfield comes into play. And this Oklahoma Sooners offense has really benefited from it early on this season.
Daniel Brooks was late getting in the game at running back. 10 men up within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Brooks motions out. Mayfield feels the pressure. Good feel in the pocket. And he throws it away with that pocket breaking down.
Credit number 93, Kyle Rose, busting through the line of scrimmage early with matched up with left guard Derek Ferniak. Penetrated early, forced Baker Mayfield to get outside the pocket, and the rest of the cavalry joined in.
Pirine. Tackled by Kwiatkowski. Got 3, 3rd down and 7.
Kwiatkowski's so fast to fire through those running lanes. There's going to be a big collision eventually between Samaje Perine and Nick Kwiatkowski at some point in this game.
KJ Dillon said earlier this week that trying to tackle Samaje Perine last year was like trying to tackle a laundry cart.
Can't say I have any experience ever doing that.
Never tried. Probably never will. 3rd and 7. Mayfield to throw against an all-out blitz. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Meade. Pressure came from Carl Joseph. Little bit behind him. Probably still should have been caught.
West Virginia got burnt before, but watch all the bodies coming at Baker Mayfield. Tries to hang in, but the ball's just a little bit behind Jeffrey Meade. Daryl Worley beat off the line of scrimmage. Meade can't haul it in.
40-yarder coming for the nation's #1 kicking prospect coming out this year, Austin Seibert. And he remains perfect. What a weapon this kid's been. What a career he's going to have here at Oklahoma. Sooners again take advantage of the short field, this time with a field goal, and it's 17-7. The Big 12. And you and I try to work the pocket square game, but Rob always one-ups us with those tie bars. That sets the whole thing off.
I haven't necessarily ascended to the tie bar yet.
Right, we'll get there.
I think Joel Klatt uses a tie bar.
Probably.
It's the #1 analyst. That's who gets to use the tie bar, I think.
Joel is in the studio today, and he's going to the Rose Bowl later today to call that Arizona State UCLA game on Fox. Shelton Gibson. Flag down. West Virginia is going to start this drive at its own 5-yard line, with a holding going to be called on number 19, KJ Myers.
During the return, holding, number 19, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal for the spot of the foul. First down, West Virginia.
These Mountaineers facing their biggest test yet. It's their first road game, and as the standings, or as the polls are right now, this is the first of 4 straight against the top 25 this month.
Yeah, if you can win today and the next 3 weeks after that, you deserve to be the Big 12 champ, because that is an absolute gauntlet. Went to Waco and Fort Worth versus Baylor and TCU and Oklahoma State next week.
This is the 4th drive that started inside their own 20. Shell, not much there.
The Oklahoma defense has been able to keep their base defense in, meaning more of those big bodies up front in to stop West Virginia in the running game. For the majority of this game so far, and in particular, keep Stryker and Bond on the field. They're 2 better rush outside linebackers.
Shell again, and another short game. And West Virginia's backed into its own end like this, and they're not calling the game the way they would if they had better field position.
Yeah, first game on the road. Always tough if you're always constantly pinned back. Trying to feel a little bit more confidence in your play calls and not making mistakes. And Skyler Howard struggling a bit in this game, already having 1 turnover.
Against a 4-man rush, Howard finds an open window for a big first down to Devontae Mathis. What a huge completion right there.
A huge completion. Credit the offensive line. But Skyler Howard working through his progression. He's going to look to the left part of the field, then over the middle, and finally comes back to define Devontae Mathis for the big conversion.
Shell in no room. Oklahoma run defense has been sharp on this drive. Second down.
There's certain things Dana Holgorsen does to really help out the quarterback in identifying coverages, and in particular it's formationing plays to give him answers, whether it's man or zone coverage. And you can see 3 wide receivers to the top of your screen, a tight end down low. That gives you a man zone indication. Helps out your quarterback in his pre-snap, post-snap reads.
They're in man here, but it's a run play, so not as big of a deal as Smallwood crashes forward to set up 3rd and 5.
Still helps to clean up the box count, understanding how many guys that you can block in the run game. So even helps out with the run game as well and identifying things. And that's part of the reason why I feel like Skyler Howard's been so effective this year, and why Dana Holgorsen's been able to put up so many points, so many yards and numbers throughout his time as a coordinator.
Converted to 3rd down and long to begin this drive. Now they look at 3rd and 4. Again, well protected. Howard to the sideline. Mathis again, but a flag down. He had a lot of room. Did he push off?
He only had 4 catches coming into this game. They've targeted him quite a bit today. It's still the first half.
Pass interference, number 82, offense. 15-yard penalty from previous spot. Replay.
Thought that looked like a lot of space for him.
And you're gonna find Devontae Mathis, the left of your screen, working on Zach Sanchez. Didn't look like he really shoved him that much. His arm extended out like he did, but Sanchez was kind of running to the deep part of the field anyways.
So instead of another 3rd down conversion, 3rd down and 19. Howard feeling the heat, has an open man. It's Jordan Thompson, who's gotten off to a slow start this season, but waited right at the sticks for a huge pickup of 20.
Watch Marcus Lucas on number 23, Devontae Bond. This is what you want to see out of your tackle. Boom. Clears one, goes and gets another, and buys enough time for Skylar Howard to be able to convert and find downfield throw.
Devontae Bond, who on the 2-deep is behind Eric Stryker, but he's one of the best players on this defense.
Yeah, you know, he doesn't have a ton of stats to necessarily make him look like that big of a playmaker, but when you watch him on film, he's constantly pestering quarterbacks and getting into the backfield. He has a much bigger effect on the game than his stats show.
2nd and 12. Oh, my goodness. Nothing doing. Jordan Wade was there with Charles Tapper for a loss of 4. And once again, it's 3rd and long.
And this is exactly what defensive coordinator Mike Stoops wanted to see out of Charles Tapper, having a bigger effect in the run game and getting after the quarterback. So far, off to a great start.
They've twice converted 3rd down on this drive. Howard sets his feet and throws low and incomplete. Had Thompson open, defended by Parker, but couldn't hit him. And finally, the punt team comes out.
We just said his name, Charles Tapper, now on the left side of your screen. Working at number 55, Yadni Kajust. It'll slip inside of Pankey, but so far been disruptive.
I like that little toy you're using on the telestrator, that blue circle. It's next level stuff.
Venturing out a little bit.
I see. Takes a nice West Virginia roll inside the 20, and Baker Mayfield in this offense ready to take the field again. He's trying to solve what has been a bit of a revolving door at quarterback over the last few years here in Norman. Remember, Trevor Knight won the job as a redshirt freshman in 2013, but was injured week 2, so Blake Bell came in, started most of the season. Knight had that huge game in the Sugar Bowl win against Alabama and won the job to start 2014, but he got hurt against Baylor. Cody Thomas replaced him. They all battled for the job this fall, but Baker Mayfield, the walk-on transfer, nice fit for this offense, won the job in August.
I talked to him before the game, and I said, are you nuts? And he wins a state championship at a 4A Lake Travis in Texas, doesn't get a scholarship, walks on at Texas Tech, and then leaves after being the Big 12 Freshman Offensive Player of the Year.
That is Joe Mixon for a short gain on 1st down. The redshirt freshman from Oakley, California, who's still shaking off some of the rust, had to miss all of last season when he's kicked off of the team for misdemeanor assault charges.
I'm talking about Mayfield. I asked him, I said, are you nuts? And then you walk on at Oklahoma after Trevor Knight was the Sugar Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
And he's not scared. He knows how talented he is and what he brings to the table.
2nd down and 8. Under pressure, stood in and fired it downfield for Baxter, incomplete, 3rd down. Not only did he transfer in here as there's a flag down in the backfield, not only did he transfer in here despite Trevor Knight being here.
Personal foul, roughing the passes, number 35, defense. 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
He transferred in here as a walk-on with nobody knowing he was even coming.
It was nuts, but, well, bang-bang play right there. Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, you go back to it, yeah, he's got to be a little nuts considering all the things that he was walking into, but again, he's very sure of himself, didn't really care about who was in front of him or what he had to do to win the job. He knew he would eventually be the guy.
Some of those qualities can translate here, right? When you're starting for Oklahoma in front of 80,000 people. Mixon gets 5.
Yeah, I think you almost have to be not carefree, but you can't be so concerned and become such a perfectionist that you get honed down by all the things that it means to be the Oklahoma quarterback. Baker Mayfield's done a tremendous job of still keeping the game fun, still seeing more of the kid side of it.
Had that memorable comeback in Knoxville, in front of 100,000 plus, game 2 to win it in double overtime. 2nd and 6. They bring only 3. Into a tight window he goes for Deron Neal, and an Oklahoma first down into West Virginia territory on a gain of 16.
What was neat about that last play was Oklahoma changed their play, and then you look to West Virginia sidelines, and Tony Gibson's changing the defense. Both are playing this cat and mouse game, and Oklahoma got the better hand on that one.
They get it outside, trying to take advantage of numbers, and D.D. Westbrook certainly does that. First down to the 35.
D.D. Westbrook, coming from Blinn Community College, where he was a National Junior College All-American in 2014, has really come in and emerged as the second wide receiver for this Oklahoma offense. Got a little shake to him.
There's a time last year where they were not good wide receiver after Sterling Shepard went down with an injury. They became about an 80% run team. Granted, he had Samaje Perine and Keith Ford, so it wasn't a bad thing. Here's Joe Mixon, and there he goes for his first career rushing touchdown. 35-yarder.
Well, he was the #1 running back coming out of high school in the country. And this is a little glimpse of why. He's got the ability to make one jump cut and the speed to hit through the line and take it to the house.
Seibert adds the extra point. And Oklahoma looking for a 4-0 start, and what they hope is a bounce-back year from that 8-5 season last year. Impressive start to this one against number 23 West Virginia. FS1 College Football is presented by Geico, and it's back after this. Oklahoma leads West Virginia 24-7. Couple of minutes left in this first half.
Foreign territory for West Virginia. Really the team that's gotten off to a fast start for the most part of this year. And Oklahoma's been the team that's been a bit slow on offense and allowed more points scored in the first half and the second half on defense. And so far, Oklahoma putting it all together right now.
Yeah, you mentioned it. West Virginia coming into this game and outscored its opponent 73-0 in the first half. Jennings takes it in. Time for a game break. Jenny Taft.
Joe, thanks. More from #4 TCU and Texas. TCU open up the playbook for this one. Running back Sean Nixon finds Josh Dotson for the 29-yard touchdown pass. Nixon showing off his arm, too. The Horned Frogs scored 30 points in the first quarter so far, stunning the Longhorns. Joe?
All right, rolling. And Howard comes back out. We look at our Built Ford tough stat comparison between the two quarterbacks.
Baker Mayfield continuing on his trend. People can talk about him being a part of the Heisman Trophy. I think if he continues on at this pace, yeah, his name's going to be in there at the end of the season.
Wendell Smallwood. Not much room on the ground for West Virginia. Charles Walker with a tackle. This is a big drive for West Virginia.
And this is where you really have to respond as a team. You fought through some adversity. You haven't had great field position, some penalties as well. But now you really got to find a way to make a play.
Pressure, throws into it. What a throw from Skyler Howard for a first down across the 42 to kill Shorts.
And what I love about it was Skyler Howard hung in there. It took a bit of a pop from Stephen Parker. As he works through his progressions, moves his feet, still remains in a good base to make an accurate throw. Skyler Howard's got a sneaky, strong arm. It's very accurate. Reminded Mike Stoops a lot of their quarterback,
right,
Baker Mayfield.
Swings it outside. It's Shorts. His second consecutive reception. And a nice open field tackle by Ahmad Thomas. 1:40 and counting in this first half.
Sometimes it's all you need is a 2-minute drive to get you back in the rhythm and back going again. You're playing fast. You're not thinking so much about your checks and all of those things of that nature. You're just going out there calling the play and running it for the most part.
Oklahoma does get the ball to begin the second half. This is a big, big drive for West Virginia. And it's with 1:18 left, looking at a third down. Howard throwing deep. Has a man. Gibson. Broken up by Jordan Thomas. Gibson had a step on Thomas, who recovered, and it's 4th down.
Back after missing a week due to suspension. Watch Sheldon Gibson get downfield, but Jordan Thomas with him step for step, and to go up with late hands is what they call it. Flash him at the end to make the play. Boy, is Oklahoma happy he's back.
They gave up more than 400 yards through the air last week, more than 600 yards total against Tulsa. That one bounds into the end zone for a touchback. Only given up 157 in the first half of this one. October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins Thursday on FS1. Streams live on Fox Sports Go. American League West coming right down to the wire. Should be a fun postseason.
How about those Blue Jays?
How about it now?
They got Toronto going nuts up there in Canada.
Champions of the East. Yankees winning the first American League wild card spot and still waiting on who they'll face. So 46 seconds, 3 timeouts. Are you giving it a shot?
It always comes down to the first play. If you have a successful first play, you got to let the thing roll. See what you can make out of it. But if it's not successful, maybe just take the time off the clock and wait till after half.
More than 200 yards, 2 touchdowns for Mayfield. He hands it off. They'll see what they get. And they're going to like what they get. Got 9. What a huge hit from Joseph on Pirine. How do you knock a guy that's 230 pounds straight down like that?
Yeah, Carl Joseph is only 5'11", 190. It's because he plays with great pad level and tremendous speed.
Sheesh. Said that he credits his tackling ability, that hard-hitting ability, to his 2 years as a wrestler in high school. Taught him that low leverage. Said a couple big hits in this game. Stefan halftime coming up. Oklahoma's content with his 24-7 lead. Why wouldn't they be? Looking to start 4-0. West Virginia with a rude awakening in their first road game. Right now, we'll send you to Rob Stone and the boys in Los Angeles. Football is presented by Geico. Back in Norman, just about set for the second half of this top 25 matchup. Oklahoma started to pull away towards the end of that first half and leads it 24-7. During halftime, they honored the 1985 national championship team on the field to a good hand. Brian Bosworth going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Barry Switzer already there. And Ricky Dixon, All-American DB, who is battling ALS right now. Great moment for him and his family to be on the field during that celebration, and honored by this sellout crowd as we welcome you back inside. Joe Davis with Brady Quinn. It was close for the first quarter or so, but then in that second quarter, a couple calls go against West Virginia, started to turn the game.
Yeah, West Virginia playing their first game on the road, and this is what you have to deal with a bit. Some calls that don't necessarily go your way. On the offensive side of the football, a push off that ended up eventually stalling out that particular drive, and then a roughing the passer call, which could have been close, but it led to an Oklahoma touchdown with Joe Mixon tearing it up.
In the first quarter, the penalty issues were Oklahoma's to deal with. They had 4 15-yard penalties in that first quarter, but lead 24-7, and here are closer look at the numbers.
Look at the passing yards, though, for West Virginia. We talked about the secondary for West Virginia being the big key, but really it's been Oklahoma defensively shutting down the offense for the Mountaineers.
Alex Ross watches it bounce out of bounds, and more great field position for Oklahoma. They'll start at the 35. And several drives in that first half that started in WVU territory.
Number 91 kicking team. The receiving team will take possession at the 35-yard line. First down.
Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Well, I talked with Dana Holgorsen. He's obviously very frustrated by his team's field position. He said we need some help from special teams because they just can't do what they want to do offensively when they start that far back. He also said defensively, we got to get to within arm's reach of Baker Mayfield. He said sarcastically, we haven't touched him all game. As for Oklahoma, they're happy with the way that Baker's been able to handle this pressure. Bob Stoops telling me if they can continue what they're doing and limit these penalties, they'll be okay.
All right, Chris, and you mentioned Dana Holgorsen upset with the field position. Doesn't get any better with that kick out of bounds. Oklahoma starts with a Pirine run from the 35, and Kwiatkowski was there to meet him in the backfield. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9.
And we talked about, or Dana Holgorsen talked about getting pressure on Baker Mayfield. Well, this is an Oklahoma offensive line that's already given up 6 sacks coming into this game. They only gave up 9 all of last year. One of the best offensive lines in the country. They had to replace 3 starters coming into this season, so they've still been trying to figure things out. Derek Farniok playing left guard today, substituting for Jonathan Alvarez. Still work in progress.
Pirine swings out of the backfield. They still don't touch Mayfield, and a flag comes in. There might be a reason why nobody got to him on that one. Askew Henry in coverage.
Holding, number 56, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
Ty Darlington, one of the 2 returning starters from last year.
And missed last week, battling up front with Kyle Rose. Jonathan Alvarez tries to give some help, but not quite in time before a holding call was made.
So they'll decline that, make it 3rd down and 9. West Virginia really in need of a stop to begin this second half. We talked about it before we came back on for the second half. For the Mountaineers, it's just chip away, drive at a time.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to get a stop here on 3rd down, and then you got to answer offense and try to sway the momentum right now that's built in the stadium. Get it back to a 2-score spread.
And so a big play early on in this second half. 3rd down and 9 for the Sooners. West Virginia brings only 4. Mayfield over the top, wants Neal off his fingertips with the coverage from Dillon. And they do get that stop that they wanted. It's a 3 and out. The punt team comes out for the Sooners.
We've seen this a number of times today. Isolated one-on-one, Deron Neal versus KJ Dillon. Baker Mayfield throws just a beautiful football outside of the defensive back, allowing Neal to fade to it, but can't bring it in.
And KJ Dillon, Brady, was back there to return the punt and in some pain, shaking out that right arm, so he'll come off. And they bring Gary Jennings on to return instead. Punt returns were a big problem for them last year. Still trying to find the solution. Not a very good punt by Seibert. Jennings picks it up. An excellent job of the coverage teams for Oklahoma after a 42-yard punt. So West Virginia's offense comes back out with Skyler Howard, who was not great during that first half. 7 of 16 for 84 yards for a guy who had a good high school career, finished up in Fort Worth, Texas in 2012. He then graduated early to walk on in the Nasty Knack down at Stephen F. Austin. Transferred after a semester to community college, transferred into West Virginia prior to last season. A couple of starts last year, won the job full-time this year.
I don't know too many early enrollees to Stephen F. Austin, but obviously a guy who's journeyed around and got some confidence now at West Virginia with their start this year.
It's been heavy run for West Virginia today. Part of that has been the field position has forced their hand to running the football.
Yeah, and I think they'd like to stay balanced, though, as well. That's something that Dana Holgorsen's really tried to do throughout the course of his time at West Virginia. They're not so much a pass-happy offense.
Too tall for Durant. And it's 3rd and 8. They've been about 2-to-1 run to pass so far.
Field position is going to play a big part in that. So many times backed up, not wanting to make a mistake, and Howard's been a bit shaky at times. With it. Marcus Lucas, right tackle. He's got his right ankle taped up.
They run it on 3rd down and 8. Shell almost slipped through. They see where they spot him. Looks like a little bit short. Jordan Evans makes the tackle. Now they're going to spot him about a half yard short. The offense for now staying out there.
It looks like they may be going for it. They're bringing in number 28, Elijah Wellman. This is a big call. What a gutsy call on the road for Dana Holgorsen.
Guess if you're going to run it on 3rd and 8, then you're thinking you're probably going for it on 4th down and a foot.
I'd be shocked if they didn't run it based on this backfield set.
They crowd the box, and they get a 1st down, and could have popped had Shell not gotten tripped up, but they do extend the drive with Russell Shell.
Wow, look at the lane that Shell has on the right side of your screen. And if he keeps his feet, he's off to the races. There's Wellman setting the edge, and boy, there's a lot of room to run there.
I think he tripped over Wellman. On 1st down, play action. Howard under pressure, and we'll throw it out of bounds. 2nd and 10.
Oklahoma's had a lot of success on offense on 1st down, but that hasn't been the case for West Virginia. And it's put them in 2nd and long and 3rd and long scenarios where they haven't been able to sustain drives, get them going. West Virginia's converted a decent amount on 3rd down today, but hasn't been quite as explosive as Oklahoma has on 1st down.
And there are the differences on 1st down for these two offenses. Power set back in there on 2nd and 10. Shell into the arms of Matt Diamond. And once again, 3rd down and a decent chunk to go. It's like about 3rd and 7.
Talked a bit before about Marquise Lucas, the right tackle, number 78, in his right ankle. He's had it taped in previous games, and he's struggled from time to time kicking on that leg, as you can see right there on the screen. He's been able to fight through it, but sometimes that's tough to do, in particular on 3rd down, when the defense knows you're going to be passing the football. It's a tough job.
3rd down and set. And they run it again. This one pops for Smallwood. 1st down to the 40 in Oklahoma territory. It's a run of 19 yards for the junior from Wilmington, Delaware.
West Virginia really using the running game to get into a rhythm on offense right now.
4 receivers into the wide side of the field. Howard scanning that way. Open man, tipped and incomplete. Too tall for Thompson. Then Bird nearly had an interception.
Howard's been high over the middle on a number of throws today. He works to his right, sees the defender, and maybe Dominique Alexander bothered him enough to put that ball a little too high. You like to throw in between the windows, not over a defender. That's where you can get in trouble as a quarterback.
Thompson is only 5'7", and Howard is only 8 for 20 now with 4 consecutive incompletions. Numbers in the box, so they run it, and that's the result. Smallwood sticks his shoulder down close to a 1st down. Bird greeted him at the sticks. It's 11 yards and a Mountaineer 1st down.
Credit tight end Cody Clay, number 88. Doing a nice job of creating a running lane, really allowing Smallwood to accelerate through.
Smallwood with a big hole again. Wendell Smallwood for 8 or 9 on 1st down. Jordan Evans, Charles Tapper combining the stop. West Virginia getting a bit of tempo going again. Outside quickly. Shelton Gibson, 1st down West Virginia.
This is exactly what West Virginia needed to do coming out of halftime. Get a stop on defense, drive down the field, get some confidence back, and get some sort of points on the scoreboard.
Timeout, Oklahoma, their first charge of the half.
A pretty savvy timeout right there for Bob Stoops, feeling West Virginia taking some of the momentum, doing exactly what they needed to begin half number 2.
What happened to that Richie Land smile? You were really something.
Not worse, we hurt him.
Rock manager.
FS1 College Football is presented by Geico. Let's check in quickly with Chris Budden.
Joe, the offense during that first half was silent between each other. When there was talking, there was even a little bit of chippiness. It's interesting how they handle this adversity. Second half, they came out. There's been a lot more talking between them.
Yeah, this has turned into the longest drive of the day for either side, Brady. This is the 12th play coming up.
Yeah, first game on the road of the season, dealing with some adversity. It's bound to happen. Not just a matter of Trying to figure things out and get it corrected.
A power eye on first down from the 14. Shell to the 10. Stopped by Evans.
It's the same play they ran earlier in this drive for a big gain. Utilizing that power eye formation, but then splitting off number 28, Elijah Wellman, to the right, to the weak side of the formation.
Howard to throw. Extends the play. And goes out of bounds. He lost a yard, it appears, and it's third down.
Never understand that. If you're just throw the ball away.
Right. Why lose the yard?
Well, it's going to end up, it's going to take a loss, going to take a hit. I just don't understand that.
Don't want to hurt that completion percentage, man.
Protect the rating.
Yeah. Which coming into the game is one of the best in the country, but he struggled today. 9 for 21. No touchdowns, 1 pick.
At some point, they've got to start finding Shelton Gibson. He's their best wide receiver. He's their playmaker. He's all the way on the left side of your screen. Work that matchup.
Looking that way. There he is. It's Gibson. It's first down and goal. Well done, Brady.
This is the guy that can really get their offense going. He's matched up on number 7, Jordan Thomas, who has played quite well so far this game. After serving a suspension last week, the Oklahoma secondary missed him dearly. Mike Stoops talked about how much confusion there was at times amongst the secondary and some of their calls, having to protect a young freshman starting in his place.
And that power set again. Wellman, the fullback. The throw, the fade. Durant! What a catch. Touchdown, West Virginia. Javon Durant, the true freshman, went up and got it on the 15th play of this scoring drive.
Just a savvy job by Skylar Howard. Sees the one-on-one matchup, changes the play, and then calmly throws a football to the outside where the defender can't get to it. Javon Durant does all the rest from Miramar High School down there in Miami, Florida. Well, the playmakers are made.
Wow. What a play. 6 foot, only 165 pounds, but great extension, great athleticism. Extra point from Lambert is good.
He was a high jump champion in high school.
Yeah.
He needed all those hops right there.
People around here know about Durant's jumping like that, making big plays. This is a big one for West Virginia. They're back to within 2 scores. A 3-and-out from the defense, and then a nice 15-play drive from the offense.
Soccer.
10-point Oklahoma lead after the West Virginia touchdown. Back to within 2 scores early on in the second half in Norman. As we go back to pre-play, Howard making the
changing
the
plays. He gets down so low. I guess he's trying to hide from his signals, but they're going to see that on film. It almost looks like he's rolling a bocce ball or something.
Yeah.
Something that Bob Stoops and the Stoops family is very familiar with. They've got a charity event back in Youngstown, Ohio to help benefit Cardinal Mooney High School, where all the Stoops boys went.
The old one-knee bocce roll. They'll chip this one short, keep it away from Ross. Deron Neal, pretty good playmaker himself. Pulled down at the 20. And West Virginia's defense comes back out, forcing that 3-and-out last time. When we finish, another matchup of unbeatens in the Big 12. K-State travels to Stillwater to take on number 20, Oklahoma State. That'll be when we finish on FS1. What a big day in the Big 12.
Huge day. Oklahoma State looking to keep climbing in the polls. Mason Rudolph has struggled a bit at times, splitting time with J.W. Walsh. Kind of comes in as the more athletic option. K-State coming off a bye, so they should be well prepared for that matchup.
Oklahoma was coming off a bye in this one, dominated that first half. The lead is now 10. And from the 21, they start with play action and a strong throw to the outside for Westbrook, who lost the football. Kwiatkowski's on it, and West Virginia's got its first takeaway of the day. Believe that was Worley that knocked it out of there.
Covered by the defense.
Tremendous recovery by Worley. D.D. Westbrook's going to run a heck of a little speed out cut, leave Worley in the dust, but as Worley goes to wrap up Westbrook, he gets a hand in on the football. And guess who? Kwiatkowski there running to the sideline to help out in the play, ends up finding the football.
And that's been the personality of this defense this year, Brady. The #1 defense in the country as far as points per game, largely because they're the #1 defense in the country in takeaways per game. What a big one there. First down in Oklahoma territory. Pressure out of the secondary. He lofts it. Durant is wide open. The defender fell. Durant pulled it in. First down and goal, West Virginia.
Jovan Durant abused Zach Sanchez on that route. He ran what looked to be a slant and go and just left Sanchez in the dust. Howard didn't underthrow that football. That's an easy touchdown and 6 points.
And it was almost like Durant misread it and had to leap in the air, do an instant replay of his touchdown catch on the previous offensive play to pull it in. So first and goal from the 5. It's Smallwood. Can't get away from Stryker. Second and goal.
Let's go back to that previous play. Jovan Durant, slant and go. Oh, then he cuts back across Sanchez inside. You don't see that very often. A lot of times the quarterback is expecting you to put the ball outside. And that could have been a disaster, but Sanchez lost in Durant's tracks.
Yeah, you typically don't like that when you're a quarterback. Second and goal, snap floats back there under pressure and sack. Speaking of Sanchez, redemption with a little help from Alexander.
This was essentially a coverage sack. Mathis is going to come across the formation and run into the flat. Howard's going to be looking for him. No one's able to get open, and Zach Sanchez, following the motion man across, comes off the edge and makes the big play, redeems himself.
4th sack of the day for Oklahoma. Third and goal from outside the 10. They run it with Smallwood. And basically are content with kicking a field goal. It's not showing much faith in Skyler Howard.
No, and one guy who wasn't on the field that you'd figure would be in that situation is #1, Shelton Gibson for West Virginia. He's your playmaker. He's your leading wide receiver, and he wasn't even on the field for that play.
Was Durant back yet? Did you see if he was out there?
Durant was back.
Still, though, a chance to get to within a touchdown.
But yeah, even the choice to run the football there instead of throw it on 3rd down, you'd figure they'd want to throw something to the end zone and take a chance.
It's a 23-yard attempt for Josh Lambert. Led the nation last year with 30 made field goals. Perfect. And in the blink of an eye, West Virginia's back to within a score.
And the logic there is you got a 10-point spread. You're going to have to get those 3 points at some point. Might as well just build off this momentum that you've created, take the points, and move on.
Well, after a monster first half for Baker Mayfield in this offense, the Sooners a 3-and-out and a turnover on their 2 second-half possessions. Trying to get the crowd back in the game in a 24-17 Big 12 showdown. And 5 Heisman winners in the storied history of this Oklahoma program. The 24-17 lead early on in the second half as we welcome it back to Norman. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, Chris Budden. It's been all West Virginia since the break. It was a little bit sleepy coming out of halftime. Didn't have the same buzz in here that there was in the first half. And West Virginia's ensured that they haven't gotten back into the game since. Ross going away. Thought about it. Takes a knee.
If I'm Oklahoma right now, I'd like to get back to that running game. Joe Mixon had a nice run to finish the first half. Samaje Perine has been effective when they've called his number. He's gotten the football. It's not necessarily that Baker Mayfield has done anything so obscene or bad. He's played quite well, really, for the most part of this game. He's 11 of 22 touchdown passes, so I don't necessarily feel like Oklahoma should feel like they're on their heels right now. Just put together a nice drive, go get some points.
They've run it 15 times for a total of 85 yards today. And it's Joe Mixon who will motion out of the backfield for first down. Chess match going on. Movement in that West Virginia defense. Showing pressure and bringing it from the backside. Chet Petaway with a sack. First one today for the West Virginia defense on a loss of 7.
Well, Gibson's not going to stop bringing pressure. The defensive coordinator for West Virginia. He's going to keep bringing it and put pressure on you as a quarterback to respond throughout the course of the game. They might get beat. He said we're going to have to take some punches too, but we're going to be the ones that deliver the majority of the blows in the game.
Oklahoma's got to be careful here. I mean, this is a 17-point lead just a minute ago. It's slipping away. West Virginia's stolen the momentum. Second and long, Mayfield, strong arm throw to the outside. Dillon bumps Sterling Shepard out of bounds. They got back the yardage lost on the sack, and it's 3rd down and 10 for the Sooners.
West Virginia doing a mass substitution on defense, bring in some fresh bodies to, I'm sure, get after Baker Mayfield in this Oklahoma offense.
Many times today we've seen Mayfield try to go over the top against West Virginia pressure. And on this 3rd down and 10, they bring only 4. Mayfield zips one that's broken up by K.J. Dillon. Westbrook, the intended receiver, and 3 possessions in this second half, Brady. 3 and out, fumble, 3 and out.
And 2 plays in a row by number 9, K.J. Dillon. Excuse me, he's going to come in from the left side of your screen. Tight coverage, does a nice job getting his hand in at the end to help disrupt the completion. So far, defensive coordinator Tony Gibson still doing his thing, dialing up, mixing coverages, and getting results here in the second half.
Gary Jennings back to return this one, calling for a fair catch and making it at the 33-yard line after a punt of 41 yards. There is a flag down. Hold on, there's a flag down. Back around where the ball was snapped. Some really nice logos, though.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5 of the receiving team. That was number 5.
They'll keep the ball.
Unsportsmanlike foul. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down, timeout.
So this team's been plagued with penalties right now.
Came after the play, so they'll just move him back 15 from where that fair catch was made. And a longer field this time for Dana Holgerson's scheme.
I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and my parents are both high school teachers. Important, and it was going to be very hard.
We're 24-7 at halftime. West Virginia's cut it to 7 and dominated the second half, kind of backwards from where these teams were over the first month.
Yeah, West Virginia's really been the fast starting team, and Oklahoma's excelled in the second half. They've completely flipped identities here so far in the second half.
Oklahoma is seemingly sleepwalking through this second half so far, and the crowd's been sleepy as well. Russell Shell running hard for 7 on first down, and it's 2nd down and 3 coming up.
And what's really occurred has been the domination by the offensive front for West Virginia. This offensive line has controlled the line of scrimmage, gotten good push. And this is something we've seen over the past few weeks. The second half, this team does a good job running the football.
Here comes pressure, and they get home with it. Eric Stryker having a great day. He's got 10 tackles now to lead all players, and it's 3rd down and short.
Number 19, Eric Stryker's going to come off the edge and chase down the play from the backside. Skylar Howard's reading 19, but he can't do anything about it because number 26, Jordan Evans, was waiting for him on the outside of the zone read. He had to give the football, just not necessarily a good play for that blitz.
On 3rd down, Howard under pressure and sacked by Matt Diamond. And the ball came out. Oklahoma's got it. It was picked up by DJ Ward. And what a turn of events to wake up this crowd.
Again, you've got to give credit to the Oklahoma secondary. No one open downfield. Skylar Howard trying to buy more time moving in the pocket, but nowhere to go. Matt Diamond bringing down Howard, getting the football out.
Yep.
Just the momentum that this Oklahoma team needed to get the stadium back into the game.
And in a day of short fields for this Oklahoma offense to work with, Here's the shortest first down and goal from the 7. Mixon, Kyle Rose, and Noble Wachuku made sure that he couldn't get any momentum going. A helmet came off, and that is Josiah St. John's helmet, so the right tackle will have to come out for a play. And they bring on Drew Samia, a true freshman, to replace him at right tackle.
Samia actually started at right tackle versus Akron to begin the season, but Oklahoma felt more confident in Josiah St. John moving forward. Community college transfer from Trinity Valley is St. John.
Second and goal. Piron's in there now. West Virginia's defense hasn't given up any points off turnovers this year. The timeout take, and that's because West Virginia just hadn't turned the ball over. Turned it over twice today.
West Virginia, their first charge of the half.
They turned it over only twice over the first 3 games. Back in 30 seconds.
We're a marketing research company, so I need to collect your phone so you can't post pictures.
West Virginia has to burn a timeout defensively there. 24-17 Oklahoma. After the sack and the fumble forced by Matt Romar and recovered by DJ Ward. So once again, Dana Holgerson's defense having to deal with a short field.
And he called a timeout there because Oklahoma puts you in a bit of a predicament in this part of the field. Baker Mayfield, an athletic quarterback, a part of the running game. Then you got to pick your poison, though. Do you cover the guys outside like Sterling Shepard and Dede Westbrook, or do you just let it be one-on-one coverage? So far, West Virginia secondary hasn't really succeeded that well in one-on-one coverage versus the Oklahoma wide receivers.
It was a little surprising Piron wasn't in there for first down. He is for second down. And Mayfield to throw. Scans the back of the end zone. Now looks to take off. And Mayfield gets crunched at the 3, and it's third down.
Before that snap, West Virginia was showing a blitz look. And to snap the ball, they got out of it, disguised in the zone coverage. You could tell Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma was a bit surprised by it. He did his best to buy time and find a running lane, but nowhere to go. West Virginia defense doing a nice job coming up, getting a stop.
What are you thinking here on third down from the 3?
You got to think at some point they're going to give the ball to Samaje Perine, which leads me to think that they've got to work a one-on-one matchup on the outside, possibly down low to Westbrook.
They'll throw. Mayfield gets sacked. It was Kwiatkowski that got there first. Almost inexcusable. You got Samaje Perine, and you don't give it to him once.
That was a fire draw at the quarterback. Baker Mayfield didn't have much time. This offensive line continues to struggle in giving up sacks so far this season after being one of the best in the country last year. But you're right, Joe. To have Samaje Perine and not give him the ball, at some point, offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley's got to just go with the easy call.
25-yard attempt for the freshman Seibert. He's got it. Remains perfect in his young career. So they take advantage of the takeaway, but West Virginia's got to feel okay about holding them to 3 after turning the ball over with a drive starting inside the 10.
Hold the phone, because AT&T and
10-point lead for Oklahoma, trying to start this season 4-0 and what they hope is a bounce-back year after that 8-5 season in 2014. West Virginia facing its biggest test yet, its first road game, and the first of 4 consecutive games this month against teams currently in the top 25. Shelton Gibson back to return this kick from Nick Hodgson. It's a miscommunication. Jennings cut in front of Gibson and took it across the 25. Time for a game break. Jenny Taft.
Joe, thanks. Number 22, Michigan visiting Maryland. After losing to Utah in their opener, Michigan has won 3 straight. How about J.U. Chesson with the 66-yard run down the sidelines for the touchdown? The Wolverines up big 21-0 in the third quarter. Joe Brady, back to you guys.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 14 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. First down, West Virginia.
So another 15-yard penalty on Oklahoma. That is the 5th 15-yard penalty today on the Sooners.
Yeah, they only have one more penalty in West Virginia, but they're giving up about 40 more yards.
That is Marcus Green, redshirt freshman corner. And this drive will begin at the 42, so finally West Virginia with some good starting field position. Second time they've had it this half. Had it after the takeaway as well. Smallwood. Unable to get outside. Stop made by Devontae Bond. And it's second down.
Nice play by number 23, Devontae Bond. Mike Stoops, defensive coordinator for Oklahoma, expressed a bit of concern with his size on the edge. I mean, he wasn't quite big enough, but he's giving about 20 pounds to number 88, Cody Clay. And that blocking scheme, he looked fine right there.
Second down and 8 on the ground again. And Dominique Alexander stuck his nose in to bring Smallwood down and set up a 3rd and 9.
Dominique Alexander's really a tackling machine. Watch how fast he breaks through the line of scrimmage. Once the hole opens, he's there to fill it. He's a solid tackler, whether that's in space or in around the line of scrimmage.
And there is an injured player. That is Tyler Orlowski, their best offensive lineman, the center.
Down for West Virginia is Tyler Orlowski.
You can't say enough about Tyler Orlowski either. He's smart, he's tough, makes all the calls up front. It's 2014 all academic Big 12.
Stone Underwood, redshirt senior himself, set to replace him.
And this is a big loss for a West Virginia offense that's relied heavily on Orlowski to make calls and to communicate up front. It's been a staple as far as providing protection for Skylar Howard and helping to create a lot of the holes in the middle of the defense throughout the season and even today in the run game.
So Stone Underwood comes in at center. Are you heating him up if you're Mike Stoops right away?
Well, one thing I'd do is I'd change my front. I'd put a guy right over top of him. Put a little pressure on him, whether that's a shotgun snap or snapping to a quarterback under center. I'd at least make him have to think about it with a guy right over top of him.
And Oklahoma sideline urging this crowd to get into it in front of a 3rd down and 9. Here's Smallwood making a man miss. Great balance to get it close. Zach Sanchez tripped him up, and it's 4th and 2.
Yeah, Dana went for it once already in minus territory. Now they've gotten the ball out to about the 50. You figure he'd go for it here, and yeah, he is.
Suits his personality.
Yeah.
4th down and 2 for West Virginia.
Now's where you want to bring pressure. Now is where you want to put that center in a position where he has to communicate and make calls versus this crowd noise.
Howard keeps it. Green grass ahead for Skylar Howard. He is in for the touchdown. 4th down and 2 becomes a 50-yard romp for Howard. And West Virginia is back to within 4.
It's incredibly hard to stop the zone read when you got to account for this guy in the running scheme. He's going to read the outside man on the line of scrimmage. He bites down, and there's just green grass. Watch Jordan Thomas try to hustle to get the angle on him, but Skyler Howard fast enough. Dana Holgorsen said this week he didn't really think he was quite as athletic as maybe Skyler Howard believed, but he's got some wheels, man. He can make it work, can't he?
Yeah, I believe the quote from Dana was, he's short, he's slow, he wakes up every day trying to prove people wrong. I think he just proved Dana wrong. With a 50-yard touchdown run, longest run of his career, converting a 4th down and 2. Bob Stoops has seen a 24-7 halftime lead evaporate in this 3rd quarter. The extra point coming from Josh Lambert. As it back to a 3-point game. Wasn't the prettiest thing on that extra point.
That was like a slow walk at the kick. That was weird.
How about Howard running with a smile on his face? No smile there. October beginning with a Big 12 opener, top 25 matchup. And it's turned into a good one. Ross going to bring this one out. Alex Ross took one back against West Virginia last year that changed that game in Morgantown. His best return this season will put Oklahoma at the 33.
Credit the Oklahoma special teams for giving him some blocks up front. Look at the wall that's created. And Ross with the speed to hit the seam, running over the kicker in the process. Siebert, the freshman, he might feel that one a little bit.
There's a flag. I didn't even see the flag thrown or laying there for that matter, but there's a flag on Oklahoma, which should not be a surprise anymore. That is the 16th flag total. They call an illegal wedge on Oklahoma.
Well, on the replay, you saw 3 guys for Oklahoma come together to create that wedge. You can't have more than 2.
That moves them back to their own 5. It's an offense that had nearly 300 yards during the first half, 18 in the second. Play action. Quick is open. He finds him for a first down to get breathing room against Rayvon Askew Henry.
Good patience by Baker Mayfield, passing out of his own end zone. Sometimes that can give you some anxiety as a quarterback, but hung in there and delivered an accurate ball over the middle.
Perine with room. Samaje Perine, the laundry cart for 12.
Well, you said it earlier, Joe. I mean, don't overthink it. Give it to Samaje Perine.
3rd quarter clock winding down. First down at the West Virginia, or at the Oklahoma 29. Mayfield punch short, has a man running free. Duron Neal. Goodbye. Touchdown, Oklahoma from 71.
Oklahoma's going to utilize a fake quick screen to Westbrook, and Neal just runs up the sidelines. No one on him. Baker Mayfield puts the ball perfectly out there to hit Neal in stride. Sometimes that's the hardest one to hit when the guy's wide open. Nice play call by offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley.
And Neal with his first touchdown of the season. Big time play from 71 yards in this offense, which had done nothing over the first 14 minutes of this half. They had 42 yards over the previous 12 plays. They get 71 on this one to the senior Duron Neal, and Oklahoma's back in front by 2 scores.
Let me get this straight. You quit your job.
Looks like the Bakers there having some fun.
Yeah.
They're cooking something up. Baker Mayfield's cooking something up too, huh?
71-yard touchdown pass for him. 320 yards through the air now. 3 touchdowns. And a fan club. pretty good day.
Both offensive minds, Dana Holgorsen and Lincoln Riley, going blow for blow there. Zone read for the touchdown with Howard, and now a fake slip screen for the touchdown for Oklahoma.
The last couple minutes had a little more of the personality we expected of this game. Here comes Durant. He's got great speed and has great field position for West Virginia. He'll start at the 36, and we'll check in with Jenny Taft.
Well, Joe, Purdue making things interesting against Michigan State. Markel Jones takes it in here for the touchdown, his second of the day. Purdue only down a field goal against the undefeated second-ranked Spartans. It's now 24-21 in the fourth quarter.
Jenny, I feel like it was only a minute ago you told us it was 21-0. Purdue back in it quickly. And speaking of back in, Tyler Orlowski back in at center. He had cramps, Chris Budden reports. And a sigh of relief from West Virginia fans. Likely the final play of this quarter. It's a completion to the sideline for Durant. He's thrown out of bounds by Zach Sanchez to bring the third quarter to a close. Entertaining third quarter it was. Smile, Dana. It went well for your team for the most part. West Virginia's back in it in this top 25 matchup. One of these teams will move to 4-0. Fourth quarter comes up next. FS1 College Football is presented by Geico. On to the fourth quarter. In front of a sold-out crowd at Memorial Stadium, Owen Field. Third quarter, West Virginia jumped back into it, 34-24. As we begin the fourth with a second down and 2 for the Mountaineers. Smallwood motions out. Howard under siege. Howard gets the ball off to Smallwood. And Wendell Smallwood cuts across into open space inside the 25. It will no doubt be reviewed. Did he get it off? Was he down? If it stands, it's a 42-yard play of brilliance.
Are you kidding me? These two quarterbacks just go back and forth, making you amazed with the plays they can make. Number 57, Adam Pankey gets beat.
The quarterback with his knee off the ground is under review.
Down.
Yeah, that's going to be coming back. But just incredible, though. And even the run afterwards by Smallwood. And that's just the thing that Oklahoma needs, in particular on defense, to stop the bleeding. Watch Pankey get beat. Or excuse me, tries to pick up Jordan Evans late. Can't quite get to him. Then just havoc ensues. Smallwood's so explosive once he gets the ball in space, but again, Howard's knee clearly down before he's able to release the football. Credit the Oklahoma defense and Jordan Evans. When a linebacker comes late like that, they call that a green dog. I have no idea why they call it that, but they just said, oh, that linebacker was green dog.
Sounds good.
Yes,
yeah.
That sounds great.
Green dog gets you every time.
So the green dog got him.
So instead of a 42-yard gain, this is going to be a significant loss of 12 yards. So a, 54-yard swing?
Yeah. This would bring up what I think is a big third down.
Yeah.
West Virginia, who was pretty solid actually in the first half, converting 50%, now hasn't fared quite as much.
And Alan Eck with a late flight tonight.
I'm not sure what's taking this call so long. It seemed beyond a shadow of a doubt that his knee was down before the ball was coming out. I'd be shocked if this play wasn't overturned.
I mean, I know you got to get the spot, you got to get the time, you got to get the down and distance. But they should have been starting to do that right away, because on first look it was clear that it was going to be overturned.
And if you're Oklahoma coming into this situation, 3rd and 13.
After review, the quarterback's right knee was on the ground before he released the pass. It's 3rd down and 14 at the 33-yard line.
3rd and 14 now. And if you're Oklahoma on this particular play, I think you just rush 4. Try to turn guys like Eric Stryker and Devontae Bond loose on the quarterback and utilize your secondary to do a good job covering downfield like they have for the most part of today. And if I'm West Virginia, you got to find a way to work to your playmakers. In particular, number 1, Sheldon Gibson down here at the bottom of your screen. It's asking a lot, but he's a playmaker.
They do rush only 4. There's a flag down. This is coming back. Would have had a first down, but Stryker with that speed off of the edge got tackled.
Holding, number 78, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 3rd down.
We talked about Marquise Lucas struggling a bit to kick step with that right ankle being taped, and it's tough when you've got a guy like Eric Stryker across the way from you, who's so explosive off the line of scrimmage. Lucas, just a tough player, been fighting through it now for a couple weeks. We asked the coaches if they had any injuries, ever banged up like that, having seen it on film, and they said no. Lucas, the type of player that isn't going to be one to tell the coaches about it. He wants to be in there playing. 5th-year senior out of Miami, Florida, from Miami Central High School.
Remember, they had it 2nd down and 1. Now it's 3rd and 24. Howard stepping up, throwing into a tight window. Get back to penalty yards with a completion to Thompson, but not even Dana Holgerson will go for it here. Sideline warning issued to the Oklahoma bench. Next would be a 5-yard penalty. Sterling Shepard back to return this punt from Nick O'Toole. They did fake one last week. This one he'll boot away, and it's off the side of his foot. Not a good one. For the most part, Oklahoma has dominated the field position battle today, and they will have it at around the 40-yard line on the other side of this break, and they've got the kind of guy you need to burn clock. Samaje Perine hasn't been used a ton today. Expect a heavy dose here. Samaje Perine's breakout game came against West Virginia last year. 34 carries for 242 yards and a couple of touchdowns. In fact, 4 touchdowns. But this year, in a different offense, 8 carries for 39 yards.
Yeah, different offensive coordinator. Brought in Lincoln Riley of East Carolina this past season. Let Jay Norville go, who ended up actually in Texas. And oddly enough, now is their offensive coordinator. As they had Sean Watson at Texas step down, Jay Norville step up, still calling plays there, but Lincoln Riley just an entirely different system. Even though sometimes the spread out formations look the same, the blocking schemes and the style just is not quite the same as they've had in the past.
One would assume we'll see plenty of Samaje Perine on this drive. Here he is. What an open field tackle by Shaq Pettaway. If he doesn't get Perine, that's a big gain.
Pettaway doesn't get enough credit in this defense. He always does a nice job of running down plays from the backside. Watch him as he comes across the screen, just following Perine the entire time. Able to wrap him up in the open field, which is seldom done.
Oklahoma not wasting any time getting to the line of scrimmage. And now they will run a little bit of clock. Use that entire play clock. 2nd down 11. Mayfield looks to throw under pressure and sacked. Noble Wachuku got to him first, and then Kwiatkowski rallied to help and set up 3rd down and long.
They're really nowhere to go. Tony Gibson turning up the pressure. Number 42, Jared Barber, was waiting for Mayfield if he even attempted to escape the pocket, spying on Mayfield.
12.5 left, 3rd down and 16. Mayfield out of the shotgun. West Virginia brings only 4. Mayfield tucks it, will get what he can. That is a face mask and a killer for Xavier Preston in West Virginia.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, number 5, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So horse collar, not a face mask, but same result. First down, drive extended.
Yeah, 2 penalties on Preston so far today, and big ones. See Preston grabs around the back of the shoulder pads to bring down. Watch up here, the top of the screen. And that is illegal. It's what is defined as a horse collar. No better example than that right there.
Tough thing to swallow is that it was totally unnecessary. They had him surrounded, would have had the ball back. Instead, first down from the 49. Perine, head of steam, Frenching his way for 4. Kyle Rose is in there for the tackle, 2nd down.
Perine's so low to the ground. He makes it incredibly difficult to find ways of being able to tackle anything but his shoulders, and he does a nice job of keeping his legs driving through the first point of contact. And any good running back does that.
Use some more of that clock. 2nd and 6. They fake to Perine. That ball is intercepted. Poor decision from Mayfield. Turns into Carl Joseph's nation-leading 5th interception of the season.
He's absolutely incredible. You can't say enough about this guy and his ability to not only read the quarterback's eyes, but anticipate routes and break in front of them. And he's got the ball skills to be able to bring in these catches.
That is now 10 interceptions this season for the West Virginia defense to lead the country. Ball back in the offense's hands. What do they do with it? Down 10.
Are you?
It's a nail biter, right? Fox Sports Supports, proud to team with Boys and Girls Clubs of America, supporting their mission in helping young people to reach their full potential through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Can't even watch.
Well, I'm not sure why they're not giving the ball to Samaje Perine in this particular case more often.
Interception setting West Virginia up. They throw it outside, and the screen was read well and jumped by Zach Sanchez. So Durant with no gain, 2nd and 10.
Sanchez recognized it right away. Got around number 1, Shelton Gibson, trying to block for Durant. Nowhere to go. Now they're going to flip the formation. Go the other way, maybe.
Smallwood had a cutback lane and found it. Pulled down after 8 yards. And it'll be 3rd down and short.
You got to believe at this point in the game, it's going to be 2 down territory whenever Dana Holgorsen and West Virginia get in plus field territories. But they're bringing in Elijah Wellman at fullback. You better believe they're going to start pounding the football.
Follow him, right?
Wellman in play. Yep.
It's a fake. Howard gets rid of it. Oh, no, it's a punt. There's a flag down as he just threw it up for grabs. Stephen Parker, and then a flag after the play as Gibson ripped Parker's helmet off. One of the flags is inside the play. One is after. Both will be enforced.
Well, I know one of them is going to be on number 15, Zach Sanchez. He was holding Durant the entire way downfield.
Which would make it a first down, and
Yep.
they'd move the ball 15 yards. And then the post-play penalty on Gibson would move
Let's
it back
bring it
15, and it'd be 1st and 10 from there.
Boy, these refs have just had a lot of pressure on them today.
A lot to sort
the
out.
style of play and things that have gone on. I bet Mike Pereira is glad he's back in L.A. at the headquarters.
There were 2 fouls prior to the pass. Holding, number 7, defense. 10-yard penalty from previous spot. and an automatic first down. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 1 of the passing team. That was number 1's first unsportsmanlike foul. 15-yard penalty. It's 1st and 10.
All right, so there you've got it. It is a first down and 10. Penalty they call on Thomas.
I don't think that's right. The penalty flag was actually over near number 15, Zach Sanchez. With all the stuff that's going on, watch these two at the top of your screen matched up. Sanchez is going to engage and then never really lets go of Durant at any point in time. The ball's out of his hand. As Durant makes the tackle, Gibson tries to rip the ball out, but
rips his
helmet off, and Jordan Thomas gets in with some of the extracurricular activities, and there's a lot of yapping going on before the game. That's just carried over into this heated battle.
5th unsportsmanlike conduct today. And by the way, the holding penalty on the defense explains why it looked like a punt. That Howard saw that flag and just floated it up. 10 penalties on both sides, more than 200 yards total. Stephen Parker has come to the sidelines on first down and 10 from midfield. Flag down. The left tackle could just move.
Ball start. Number 55, offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Talk about the Eric Striker effect.
Yeah.
Tough when you got a guy who's so much faster than you lined up across from you. In an away stadium already where there's going to be crowd noise and other things affecting your concentration, let alone Eric Striker.
Inside of 10 minutes now, not much room for error for West Virginia. Howard wants one-on-one, but gets hit from behind. Striker jarred it loose. Evans picked it up. Howard can't run him down. All the way down to the goal line and in for the Oklahoma touchdown.
Well, we just talked about the explosiveness of Eric Striker. He's going to come off the edge, and as he's done all day, create havoc in the backfield. Wellman tries to get to him, a design play action fake. The Striker just too good in pass rushing. Howard's going to try to make a play at the end, but Jordan Evans too fast. Huge play for the Oklahoma defense.
The ball came out at the end. Yeah, I think it was recovered by Oklahoma anyways, so. Waiting for the go-ahead from the booth. Howard wanted to go one-on-one down the sideline, but just didn't see Striker coming.
Rolling on the field of a fumble, and the ruling of the recovering player advancing the ball for a touchdown are under review.
Well, the tough part about the play is you're trying to utilize a play-action pass to fool the defense, get one-on-one coverage on the outside, and you're relying on Elijah Wellman, a fullback, to pass protect versus arguably the best pass rusher on Oklahoma's defense.
That should be confirmed quickly. 7th sack of the day, by the way, for the Oklahoma defense.
Credit defensive coordinator Mike Stoops for the job he's done, exploiting some of the weaknesses in West Virginia's offensive scheme, and in particular personnel.
And they're taking a look. While they do, let's bring in Mike Pereira. What'd you see, Mike?
I'll tell you, another busy day for Alan Eck and his crew, that's for sure. But two things they're going to look at. First part, was it a fumble by the quarterback? It is. It's the empty hand. Is it a touchdown? Did the ball break the plane before it came loose? It did. And here's the old empty hand, which we dealt with last week a little bit, by the way. Ball's out before the hand or arm starts forward, and then he does break the plane before the ball comes loose here.
So it should all be confirmed.
Striker partying before Evans even got in the end zone there.
Yeah.
Look at him. Put his hands up. He has no idea that Evans is possibly fumbling the ball as he crosses the goal line.
It's a great point.
Oh, you got to love it. just has no idea what's going on behind him.
Pretty confident we can confirm this and get on with our lives here.
If you're West Virginia now, it's a really tough sled, an uphill battle. Your team's going to primarily be one-dimensional. 9 minutes and 37 seconds left in this ball game, and it's going to be a 17-point deficit. You have to throw your way back into this.
Third West Virginia turnover today. They had 2 over the first 3 games. Turnover margin last year was an issue for them. They're number 1 in the country in turnover margin coming into this game. Oklahoma, meanwhile, was 117th nationally at -4 over the first month of the season. The script has been flipped today.
West Virginia offense had allowed 7 sacks coming into this game.
After review, the ruling of the quarterback fumbling the ball is confirmed. The ruling of the recovery player advancing the ball beyond the goal line is confirmed. Touchdown.
There is a turnover story.
And it's hard to go on the road and not win the turnover margin and find a way to win. It's too hard. You get this crowd involved and all the noise and all the things that go into trying to communicate and run your offensive or defensive schemes.
Seibert adds the extra point. It's 41-24. Eric Stryker got the party started before the play was even over. Kept on partying to the sideline with Bob Stoops. Trevor Knight making an appearance as well.
Oh, I just thought it was a wagon. Yeah, I'll do it. Sign me up.
All right.
Looks like it'd be fun. He's got to hold a flag, though, too. It doesn't seem like that'd be too easy.
No, that's good coordination. Sure. 41-24, Oklahoma. Sack strip from Eric Stryker. Jordan Evans picked it up and took it back for the touchdown. Now West Virginia needs a bunch in a hurry. Gary Jennings back to return this kick from Nick Hodgson. October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins Thursday on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Great time of year with college football season in full swing. Baseball playoffs getting going. 9:37 left in this one and a 17-point Oklahoma lead. West Virginia will have to be near perfect down the stretch to have a chance.
I wish West Virginia would utilize more backfield sets with both Smallwood and Shell in the game at the same time.
Howard under pressure, gets rid of it to Smallwood. And Evans stripping at that ball, makes an open field tackle for a loss of 5.
Well read by number 26, Jordan Evans. And who just ran back the fumble recovery for a touchdown. He had a nose on that all the way. And again, West Virginia struggling in this particular game on first down, something that coming into the game, they were so explosive on first down that it really allowed easier situations on second and third. Not the case today. Credit the Oklahoma defense.
Second and 15, pressure coming. And that ball is too high, but a flag comes in with pass interference called on Ahmad Thomas. You can make the case that it was uncatchable for the 5'7" Thompson.
Pass interference, number 13, defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Thompson running a simple out route. Mayfield had to move in the pocket to make the throw. That's why it was a little bit off off point, but Thomas coming in too late.
Well, too early, depending on which way you look at it. And it was the right call. It's seen that second time. Would have been catchable had he not gotten hit. Outside they go. Back to Thompson. He stayed on his feet and got a first down. Wow. Jordan Thompson. Great strength and balance for 11 yards.
Good blocking by Devontae Mathis and Shelton Gibson, creating a lane for Thompson to be able to get upfield.
Shell motions out. Howard steps up in the pocket and throws one right into the hands of Jordan Thomas. Back near the 20. 48-yard return and turnovers spelling doom for West Virginia today.
Jordan Thomas looks a little banged up at the end of that play, but tremendous job reading the route of Shelton Gibson. Skyler Howard's going to try to buy time and step up in the pocket. He looks outside and Gibson slips a bit, and that's all Jordan Thomas needs to break in front of the deep comeback route. Howard almost hit Thomas right on the 7.
Injury timeout.